Hi everyone, glad to see you all here and have you back. So I'm going to have a bit of a less technical talk than the ones before. So I'm just going to give you an overview over the different community platforms that we have. What kind of places we offer. I'm Murek. As Blarim said, I'm the developer advocate for Icinga, so the bridge between the technical and you guys out there. And in that role, I'm just going to quickly show you the different platforms that we have for the different use cases that you might have. All right, what kind of different spaces do we offer? So this is basically the complete list of places that you can visit online or in person where we're around and where you can communicate with us. So we have social media, of course. We have GitHub. We have the community forum. The Icinga exchange that was just mentioned, the different meetups and community calls that we have, and our channel on YouTube. And I'm just going to give you a quick overview over the different channels. So when it comes to social media, we have 3 different channels that we use actively. And once again, I'm curious who uses which. So who of you is on Twitter and is checking out Icinga? All right, that's quite a few. Who's on LinkedIn? Again, roughly 30–40%. And on Facebook, do any of you follow us on Facebook? That's, as expected, the minority. That was, I think, 3 hands there. So, yeah, our social media channels are mainly meant for sharing information, which is, if there's a new release, you'll find it on our social media. If there are any news in the Icingaverse, if we have any new blog posts or any events that you might have noticed, we've been sending out tweets and posts every other day. So to get your information about Icinga, the social media channels are obviously the way to go. And we also like to have some playful interactions with people. If you remember our little events, like the feedback week, where we ask questions and we love to see some interaction, and interacting with us on social media is always a great way to contribute in a very simple, non-technical manner, because spreading the word about Icinga obviously helps us a lot, and yeah, have people find us this way. The next channel is GitHub. GitHub, well, you probably have seen what GitHub looks like at some point. So we have the Icinga organization there with all of the different repositories where you can find pretty much everything that we do. There are very few to none of the projects that we have offline. Everything's here. And GitHub is obviously where our active development happens. So anything that we do can be found there, and you can always take part in discussions by raising issues that you find. So if you have a bug or if you think you found a bug, you can always post it on GitHub, and hopefully our developers will respond in quick time. And you can also collaborate on code, even though you don't know how to write it yourself. Maybe you can bring in your perspective, because a big issue that we at Icinga have is that we push it out, but we have very, very little feedback from you. We have no call home. We have no information from what you do on your systems, so it's always great to get some information, and GitHub will also be a place to share if you have any use cases or things that you might want to see that we might never even have the idea to do without you telling us. So raising those ideas and issues on GitHub would definitely be the place to go. This is also where our developers are, so this is where you can find them and talk to them. The community forum is something where a bit of my baby in this case that I've inherited. So for those of you that have never seen it, it's basically a discourse forum where we have a bunch of different categories where you can find all sorts of things. And it is meant to be a communication medium between community members. So it's occasionally visited by our developers, but it's mostly meant to be users helping users. So if you have a question about a certain use case, or if you don't know what to do in that case, you can open up a topic on the forum, and you might get help from other people that have found a similar problem or have found a solution for it. And it's also a great way to learn yourself by trying to answer problems that you might never encounter in your system. So it's a great way to grow your own knowledge in a way. And what you can also find on the community forum are quite a bunch of guides. So there's a how-to section where a few users shared their story or shared how they tackled certain problems to read up on and get ideas maybe for your own setup. The Icinga Exchange is, well, it looks a bit like this, where you can find all sorts of different projects, mostly made by the community, and yeah, uploaded to the platform. On the Icinga Exchange, you can share any kind of development that you've made yourself that you think others might profit from. Or even if you don't think others might profit from it, a lot of environments are very similar, and even though you think it's something that I only wrote for myself in my own company, others might still like to look at it. You can link it to a GitHub repository, and they can check out your code and get inspiration from it. You can find projects, you can comment on them. The authors usually really love it if there's a new comment projects, because just like us, everyone loves their feedback and gets way too little of it. And yeah, you can rate projects, and that's probably also going to be very helpful. You can access all sorts of plugins and themes and modules over there, and it basically helps you customize your Icinga. So it's a shop for all things Icinga related, a free shop where you can check out new things to add to your system. And as you might know, we also have meetups sometimes, like those Icinga camps, you might have heard of them. And we also have semi-regular community calls where we would like to invite everyone who wants to participate. So our community calls usually happen on Jitsi, like those two pictures. We also live stream them to YouTube usually. And there's also the meetup platform. I don't think there has been a meetup in the past few years, but there have been before. And we would always love to see people start new meetups and yeah, get the local community together. Generally, those meetups and calls are more of a casual setting where you get together, socialize, get some presentations and updates from Icinga or other companies that want to share something. And it's also a great way to discuss things with those developers in real life or, well, in a face-to-face conversation over a web meeting tool. And also a great chance to network and figure out what other people are doing with their Icinga. YouTube is a channel that is mostly loaded up with videos, or rather recordings from our events, from talks that you might have missed or that your colleagues missed out on now, and they can watch it later on. We have a few tutorial videos. It's still a project that is being worked on slowly. We have a few webinars on there, and also the recordings of our live streams. So has anyone ever visited the Icinga YouTube channel? Mostly everyone. Impressive. So yeah, we have our streams that are usually the recordings from our calls. Every now and then there's a webinar, mostly hosted by Christian, our Icinga for Windows guy. There's also a handful of tutorials that we would like to expand, and all sorts of recordings from the conferences to rewatch. So this was just a very, very brief overview over what we have to offer. Maybe you've discovered something new. And yeah, we would like to get started with the panel. I think I'm a bit very early now. No, it's fine. Yeah, so we're going to move our panelists to the front and yeah, get started on discussing all sorts of topics about Icinga, what's been happening, and what's going to happen in the future. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand.
Bye.